So let's talk about boundaries because it's such an important topic and so important to develop boundaries because if you want to live an empowered life, you need to learn how to say your piece and get what it is that you want in this life. It's super, super important. I'm going to wear my sunglasses for most of this video because it's like 4:30 in the afternoon and the sun is just like blazing in my eyes. I'm sitting on my porch, which is lovely. I mean, here it is end of February and it's like 79 degrees. But anyway, so let's talk about boundaries. Having a boundary means stating what it is that you will accept and not accept in life. And I want to talk about my good friend. I'm going to change her name to Debbie, okay? Her name isn't Debbie, but I'm going to call her Debbie. Now, Debbie, her way of handling things is she will suck it up, 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 and then she won't. She'll absolutely blow her stack, And when she blows her stack, she pisses people off really big time, And she has her own business and she's lost clients over it. She's lost friendships over it. In fact, this morning, the two of us, me and Debbie, we are workout buddies. We live on the opposite side of town in Las Vegas, and we meet every morning like on Zoom, and we work out together to these video workouts here on YouTube. And, I made a suggestion to her that she had said something about I need to strengthen my muscles. We were texting back and forth. And she said that. And I said, if the workouts that we do, if you really gave it 100%, in terms of, like moving your arm all the way up instead of halfway up or kicking higher or whatever it is, you probably get more out of it, And I want her to be healthy. If she wants more muscle strength, I want her to have more muscle strength because she's my workout buddy. And, it's hard to find somebody who shows up on time every day, even if they're not the person who inspires you in that way. It's hard to find somebody who literally is there, every day. And we always, at the end of our workouts, we say, thanks for working out with me, And so anyway, I said, if you really gave it your all, right? And she said, back off, with 3 exclamation points, back off, you're getting on my last nerve or something like that, right? Which makes me laugh because, I know how she is and she just takes it and takes it and takes it, Although she's learned that she doesn't have to with me, but she does in business. And the thing is when it comes to boundaries, we think that we either have to suck it up and take it, or we're going to piss the whole world off, and make everybody unhappy and ticked off at us and everything else, without considering the possibility that there's a middle ground that you can find, and something where both parties are happy with the outcome, right? Even if it wasn't the outcome that they originally suggested, sometimes what people ask for isn't really and truly what it is that they want. So anyway, and I learned this from a boss of mine a long, long time ago. He was a boss and he was a friend. He and his wife were friends of mine. And he said to me one time, he said, Denise, how can you say things in such a way so that you get what you want and the other person gets what they want? It's so important. I'm going to say it again. How do you say things in such a way so that you get what you want and the other person gets what they want? And I said that to Debbie recently, and she goes, well, that's kind of hard, And I said, yeah, it is, And when I first learned that, I was like, I wasn't 30. I was probably maybe 37, 38. It was before I met Ernie. And I remember there were times when I just wanted to like just hammer somebody verbally, not literally verbally. And and I would, I mean, I remember having like bleeding lips from like biting down, trying to figure out how do I say things in such a way that I get what I want and the other person gets what they want. And I learned that sometimes it's not just like a one sentence or one paragraph thing. Sometimes it involves a conversation, right? But it is doable, as evidenced by the fact that there are a lot of people who get what they want, and yet they still have great relationships, great friendships, great family relationships, and things of that nature. And that particular boss, his name was Dale, he was that kind of person. He had great relationships with almost everyone until he fooled around on his wife, and then he didn't have a great relationship. But at any rate, when it came to boundaries, I really learned something so powerful. And, Debbie was right. It's not easy the first time. I'm not suggesting that it is and that you'll just kind of fall into it. I'm not suggesting that it necessarily happens, in the first sentence. Sometimes it might take a little bit of coaxing, a little bit of moving along. But one of the things that I know is that there are enough words in the English language, in most languages, that you can find a way to frame what it is that you want to say so that you get what you want to get. And of course, when you get what you want and the other person gets what they want, that's the definition of win-win, right? We all get what we want, and that makes everybody happy. You don't have to pummel somebody to make you happy, unless you have revenge in your heart or something like that, which I don't highly recommend. It's kind of a waste of time. And so anyway, something worth pondering is when it comes to boundaries, because everybody says you got to have boundaries, but people, I mean, if you have been like a people pleaser your entire life, and you have been the kind of person who, kind of sucks it up and sucks it up and sucks it up like Debbie, and her excuse sometimes for like doing that and then like blowing off steam is she go, well, I'm Italian, like, yeah, right. Okay, great. So, that makes me laugh. And I think that's one of the reasons why we have a good friendship is I'm not afraid to ask for what it is that I want. And what I really want in that relationship is I really would like a friendship where we are both equally dedicated, but to what we're doing, and we are, in terms of the fact that we meet pretty darn close to every day to do these workouts together. So in that standpoint, that's fine. And I accept the fact that right now, in terms of dedication, like I'm really out there like jumping all over the place, and she's not, and I said this morning, I said, you know what, as long as you're dedicating the time, like 35 minutes to do this, like why not give it your all? And I got back off, So anyway, so I hope that's helpful to you as you think about boundaries. This has been Denise Michaels, What I Wish I Knew at 30. And I'd love to hear your comments about it. I read all the comments and I respond to almost all the comments. So take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.